All right, let's get practicing in QuickBooks Online. Grab the link below in the description so that you can follow along. All right, here we are in the QBO Gym. And the QBO Gym is a place where we have numerous hands-on exercises that simulate real-life scenarios that you may encounter as a bookkeeper. We come out with new exercises each month and break it down for you into 4 different sections. Today we are working in the March Year 1 Strength Training section where we really focus on project tracking. At the top here is an animated video to give you a synopsis of what you, the bookkeeper, will be doing for your client, Craig, this month. Below that is an interactive pre-assessment quiz. Under that are all of the exercises in this exercise. Bottom is an optional area where after you have completed all of the exercises in this section, we do have some sample posts that you are welcome to use on your LinkedIn to share with everybody what you have learned so far. So let's go ahead and get started with today's exercise where we're going to practice setting up the projects. So go ahead and click on that link to have the exercise pulled up. We have it over here on the right-hand side, so let's read through our scenario. Whitney Brewer of Wedding Planning by Whitney has 2 weddings coming up, and she'd like Craig to come in and clean up the properties prior to each event. Each event will consist of installing some rocks and lighting, as well as performing some tree and shrub trimming. Property manager already has someone to take care of the mowing. So the property for the Finch Crawford wedding is a little larger, so Craig will be charging $1,290. For the Wilson Ford wedding, he'll only be charging $920. Craig would like to keep track of his profit margins and compare each event against each other. Now, in this first exercise that we're doing right now, we'll be setting up the initial projects. In the future exercises, we will track the expenses for each, and in the final exercise, we'll be comparing the profit margins. So you will need to be in the sample company to do these exercises. Now, if you're not sure how to get into the sample company or get your own free QBOA account, be sure to click on the link below in the description. I have the sample company pulled up here on the left side of my screen. This is the dashboard and what it will look like when you sign in. Now, you need to be sure that you are doing all 4 of these exercises that are in the strength training section in the same session of the sample company as they build on each other. So since this is the first exercise, you can start in a new session. But let's go ahead and get started with the exercise. First thing we will need to do is to make sure the projects feature is turned on. Sometimes it is already turned on in the sample company, sometimes not. These first few steps are going to assume that it is not turned on. So let's go ahead and double check. We're going to click on the gear icon and then select Account and Settings. The gear icon is on the top right corner of the sample company. Click on that, and then under your company, select Account and Settings. And as this pulls up, we are going to need to go into the Advanced tab. So let's go ahead and click on that. It's over here on the left side of the screen. Then we want to get to the projects section and click on it. So the project section is a little more than halfway down. Once you find it, go ahead and click anywhere on that section to make it editable. Next, we will need to click the toggle to turn on Organize All Job-Related Activity in one place. That is this right here, that toggle. Go ahead and click on that. It will turn green when you do, indicating that it is turned on. There's nothing left to do in this section except for clicking Save. So go ahead and click that green Save button. And after you click it, you will see the page refresh for you. And when you do, you will see that Projects is now turned on. So we have it all turned on. We're all good to go. So let's click on the green Done button on the bottom right corner of the sample company. Now you will get this pop-up that says, are you sure you want to leave without saving? This, I believe, is a glitch in the sample company. So go ahead and click on the green Yes button. And you will know that your settings have actually been saved because we have projects over here on the left navigation bar that has now showed up. So now we're ready to begin our projects now that we have turned that feature on. So we'll start with the Finch Crawford wedding. To start that project on that left navigation bar, we're going to click on projects. That's over here, as I mentioned before. So go ahead and click on it once you find it. Now, if this is your first time in this area, you will get this little welcome screen. It's an overview that Intuit has about this area. If you want to watch the video, you can always do that at your own time, but we don't need to for this exercise. We're just going to go ahead and start the project. So click on Start a Project right there. And this pop-out window is going to appear for us to fill out for this project that we're creating. So in the project name field, let's go ahead and type Finch Crawford Wedding. So click into that box and type Finch Crawford Wedding. Make sure I spelled that correctly. Yes. In the customer field, we're going to select Wedding Planning by Whitney, and this allows us to connect a project with a customer. So go ahead and click on the down arrow. You can either start typing her name or you can scroll towards the bottom here. She's almost right at the very bottom. Go ahead and click on her name. We're going to leave the remaining fields as is and just click on the green Save button. So go ahead and click on that green Save button down here. And when you do, this is what the project dashboard will look like for the Finch Crawford wedding. So as I mentioned, you're viewing the Finch Crawford wedding project. So let's go ahead and add the invoice to this project. Note that you will likely need to close some informational pop-ups in the sample company before proceeding in the next step. For me, I did not have any come up. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. So if you got any, just go ahead and click out of them. So let's go ahead and click Add to Project. That is right here. And then we're going to click on Invoice. That's the top one from that pop-out window or list that came up. When you do, you will see this invoice appear. Now you will notice that QBO has already filled in all of the customer information, and that's because it's encoded in the project. We had added this invoice directly from the project, so all of this information has come up for us. So let's go ahead and fill out the bottom part of this invoice. So in the product service field, we're going to, on the first line, select lighting. So go ahead and click into it. You can either start scrolling or you can type in lighting to have it pop up for you. Once you have it, go ahead and select it. And then the description is going to automatically fill in. We just need to put in a rate, which is $150. So go ahead and click into that rate field and type 150. In the product service field, we're going to, on the second line, select rocks. So click into that. Again, you can start typing rocks or you can scroll to find it. Once you do, go ahead and select it. And then this description will fill out. We just, once again, need to put how much this will be. So in the amount field or in the rate field, either one is fine since we only have one. You want to go ahead and type 800. So once you type 800, you will see QBO is making the calculation for us and updating it. Now we have one more thing to put in here, and that is the trimming, and that is on the third line. We're going to select that. So click into this, and then you can either start typing or again, you can scroll. Once you find it, go ahead and click on it. And that description is going to fill in for us. We want to type in 4 for the quantity. So go ahead and click into that quantity box, type 4, and then hit the tab key over so that we have the amount. And then I forgot the really important one, the installation. We have another one to add here. So on the fourth line, we're going to select installation. So in that fourth line of the product service field, go ahead and click into it. Again, you can either scroll or you can start typing in. Once you, well, it would help if I spelled it correctly. Once you find it, go ahead and click on it. And then we're going to have in the quantity field, he's going to say it's going to take 4 hours to do. So go ahead and click into that quantity field, replace it with a 4. You can hit the tab key over. And once again, all of that calculation is being made for you, and it's that $1,290. So this is all done. This invoice is all good to go. So we can go ahead and click on the down arrow next to save and send and select save and close. Now in a real life scenario, if you wanted to directly send this to your client or your customer, you could always click on save and send. We can't actually do it here in the sample company, so we're just going to save and close. So click that down arrow, select save and close. And now that invoice has been saved and you will see that it is showing up right here. It is showing up as a note here. It is showing up here as income because this type of accounting is accrual-based counting versus cash-based. So when that invoice goes out, it is considered income coming in because it's accrual-based versus cash. If it hadn't been paid yet, if we were using cash accounting, cash accounting, once the invoice is paid, then it is counted here as income. But we're accrual counting, so that's why it's showing up right there. Next, let's return to the Project Center and add the Wilson Ford wedding. So we're going to click on All Projects. That is up here on the left corner. Click on that, and now we are in the Project Center. We are going to be adding a new project. So click on New Project, not the arrow, but New Project itself. And once again, you get this pop out that we had when we did the first wedding. So now let's go ahead and fill it out. In the project name field, we're going to type Wilson Ford Wedding. So click into it, type Wilson-Ford Wedding. There we go. Once again, we need to connect this project with a customer. So in the customer field, we're going to select Wedding Planning by Whitney. So go ahead and click into it. You can either start typing Wedding or Whitney or something like that, or you can scroll to the bottom and click her name. Once you find it, go ahead and click on it. And we're going to leave the remaining fields as is, nothing to change. So all we need to do is just click on the green Save button. That is down here on the bottom right corner, so click on that. And now this project has been created for the Wilson Ford wedding. Next, we're going to want to add the invoice basically the same way that we did for the other wedding. Now, since this is basically going to be the same as the Finch Crawford wedding, it might be easier just to copy this one rather than starting from scratch. So let's go back to the to the Project Center by clicking on All Projects. So click onto that that little link there that take you back to this Project Center. And you may have noticed when we came to this project center before that you're getting a message about hourly costs rates. We're going to cover this a little bit later. So for right now, you can just go ahead and ignore it. So let's go to the Finch Crawford wedding. Let's go back to that one. So click on that to get back to their project right here. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, QBO has automatically begun tracking the income associated with this project. You can see that right here. And this is because the accounting method has been set to accrual in the account and settings. If the client had this set up to cash as the accounting method, then you would not see the income until the invoice was paid. So that's what I was mentioning before, just a reiteration of why this is showing on the income, why that invoice is already showing. So in the first income line, we're going to click on 1290. So just click into it. Oh, I'm sorry, down here. I was clicking up here in the dashboard. You got to scroll down to the income right here, and you go ahead and click on that 1290 right there. And this will show a transaction report of all the income associated with this project. We're going to open the invoice that we just created. So just click on the 1038. You can just click on this top one here, and this will take us directly to that invoice. We're going to click on More and then select Copy so that we can get a copy of this. More is down here on the bottom of the screen on the black bar. Go ahead and click on that and then click on Copy. And you will know this is a copy because you get this little warning here that says that this is a copy and to just make sure that it's saved properly. So let's go ahead and fill this out for the Wilson Ford wedding. In the customer field, we're going to select Wilson Ford. So click that down arrow, and it happens to be the next one underneath Finch Crawford. So go ahead and click on that. We need to make some adjustments down here on the invoice because remember, Craig is not going to be charging as much for this wedding as the other one because the property is not as big. So on the rocks line, we're in the rate field, we're going to type 600. So click, here is that rocks line right here. Here is the rate, click into the rate, type 600. If you hit the tab key over, you will see that QBO is automatically updating what we have put in here. Now on the trimming line and the installation line, we are going to type 2. Jumped a little bit. You're going to type 2, get rid of the 4 since it's going to take less time. So click into the trimming line on the quantity box, type a 2. And then on the installation line where it says 4, go ahead and click on that and type a 2. Once again, when you hit the tab key over, you will see that QBO is making the update for us, showing it now as $920. So we are all good with this invoice. Again, in a real life scenario, you could save and send this to go directly to the customer. But since we can't do that here in the sample company, we're just going to click on save and close. So click on that green button right there. And now it says that invoice has been saved. So once again, we want to return to the project center. So in order to do that, this time we're going to, on the left navigation bar, click on projects. That is over here towards the bottom. Go ahead and click on that. And now we are in the projects center. Now, Craig has assigned 2 projects managers to the wedding projects, and he would like them to track their time. Emily Platt has been around a while and cost the company $30 per hour, but John Johnson is relatively new. Still, Craig figures this is a good time to try him out. So John costs the company $20 per hour. So let's go ahead and enter in their hourly rates. So to do that, we're going to click on Employee Hourly Rate. So click on that right here. Next to Emily Platt, we're going to click on Add. And then we need to add in her cost her cost to Craig. So in the cost rate field, we're going to type 30 and then click on Save. So click into this box, go ahead and type 30, and then Save is on the right side of that line. And now we need to add it for John Johnson. So go ahead and click on Add. And then his rate, once again, is going to be $20, and then we're going to click on Save. So click 20, and then click on Save. And now their cost rates are saved here. Now it's important to note that this is not how much Emily and John are paid. Rather, it is how much they cost Craig, which includes not only how much he pays them, but also the taxes and other overhead he has to pay. This is not billable. This is not a billable rate or for either of them, which is what Craig would charge someone else for their time. So it's not being billed directly to the customer. This is just what it is costing Craig to use them, to have them work on these events. So we're going to click on the X to close out the pop-up window. That's right here. And you will notice that that informational pop-up has disappeared. Now you're all finished with the initial setup, and so now it's time to record the expenses, which we are going to do in the next exercises, but that is how you would set up projects. And if you have any questions or want to know more about the QBO Gym, just click on the link below in the description. Be sure to leave this session of the sample company open as you will need it for the next exercise in the strength training section, where we add expenses for the Finch Crawford wedding. And I will see you in the next video.